Today on the Topping Show, Donald Trump signs an executive order to ban sanctuary cities. Disney's Snow White is crashing worse than Kamala Harris's campaign, and it has the comics video going viral yet again. The 2026 Aston Martin Vanquish Volante loses its roof. Representative Jasmine Crockett calls Texas Governor Greg Abbott Hot Wheels since he's in a wheelchair, and she's roasted on social media. And an espresso machine is being recalled because it might burn you. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. And it does come with fun Picatinny rail adapters, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all Aston accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. Lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have the 2026 Aston Martin Vanquish Volante losing its roof and it's styling for the front. But that's just my 3 cents. Now, this comes to us thanks to Motor1.com, specifically credited to Christopher Smith, one of the top writers over there. Which they say, quote, 2026 Aston Martin Vanquish Volante. This is it. The same incredible twin-turbo V12, now with unlimited headroom, which at least it has a great engine, though should have more pedals. Now, here you can see the Aston Martin right there. It's a cool coupe. And it looks, to me, it looks pretty slick. Granted, I'm not a big fan of convertibles in general or, cars without roofs. I think, personally, I prefer the styling of the coupe with a nice hard top. But in this case, I don't want to say, what would they used to say? They jumped the shark. But to me, I think it was an epic fail for the front-facing grille. Now, Chris says, oh, sorry about that. Chris says, quote, let me pull this up really here. Depending on who you talk to, removing the roof on a performance car either makes it better or worse. Well, obviously worse. Just statistically speaking, you won't be able to go as fast. But I guess some people might like a performance car that can perform less. For reasons. Nevertheless, he says, quote, when the performance car in question is a V12 Aston Martin Vanquish, frankly, we struggle to see the downside. But whether you prefer your Grand Tourer open or closed, you'll now have the option to do that with a V12 Vanquish. Here's a 2026 Aston Martin Vanquish Volante, which, again, from the side looks pretty cool. The rear looks, it's got some nice exhaust tips. I'll give them that. But to me, it's almost like a parody. Like if you put a ChatGPT, Banana Falcon, or Grok or Grok, put an AI tool, said, make me a bombastic Aston Martin for a rapper or some country western musician that made it rich or something, it'd be this. Grille nearly takes up the whole front bumper. It's over-exaggerated, but not in a good way. To me, it just looks so obnoxious, but there it is. They say, thankfully, the powertrain is unchanged from the coupe. This means a 5.2-liter twin-turbocharged 12-pot production, 824 horsepower, and 736 foot-pounds of torque, all turning the rear tires through an 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox. Why even bother? For the record, that's the most powerful front-engine production car you can get, being it a hardtop or convertible. It's also the fastest with a top speed of 214 miles per hour, which I was actually surprised. It's identical to the fixed-roof Vanquish. I did not see that coming. Now they say, quote, it does, however, take a bit longer to get there. The Vanquish Volante's official sprint from 0 to 62 miles per hour. They say to 100 kilometers per hour, whatever that is. In America, we go 0 to 60, but nevertheless. And this is the James Bond British car. That takes 3.4 seconds. That's 0.2 of a second off the hardtop pace, and you can thank the Volante's extra 209 pounds for it. Wow, that's pretty heavy. Or half an American. Only partially kidding, we have a health problem. Now it says Aston Martin calls weight gained minimal, though that should push the roofless Vanquish somewhere around the 4,300 pound, oh my gosh, pound range once fluids are added. Jeez Louise. 4,300 pounds. insanity how heavy cars are getting these days. Mostly because of government regulation. Another topic for another time, perhaps. They say the upside is a reinforced chassis that Aston Martin claims is nearly as stiff as a coupe. Exact details on that process aren't mentioned, but the suspension does get Volante's specific tuning to go along with the Bilstein DTX dampers, 6-piston carbon ceramic front brakes, and 4-piston rear brakes to help the stopping. It rides on the same Pirelli's P0 21-inch tires as the coupe. As you expect, the interior is about the same, right down to the pair of 10.25-inch displays, which, yeah, nothing dates the car like the electronics in there. Also known as make them look like trash. It's one of the top ways that the DB9s and the James Bond, was it? Not Quantum of Solace, was before that. One that was so boring, the main plot was actually gambling at a casino. Like, that was the main point of the movie. Was it Die? No, Die Another Day. Anything with Sean Connery is good. Or Pierce Brosnan. It's one of the newer ones. But nevertheless, as soon as you bought that car, the outside looks beautiful, timeless to this day. But the interior has a flip-up map that looks like it's from the 80s with an LCD screen. It's the one thing about Aston Martins that dates them the most is all the electronics. They're also woefully unreliable with the electronics too. So, again, I don't think they should have any of these stupidest screens, but that's just me. Now, they also note that the only difference is a button for the K-fold fabric roof, which takes 14 seconds, can be done at speeds is up to 31 miles per hour. Raising the roof takes a little bit longer at 16 seconds. But with the roof up, you can't hear the optional titanium exhaust system nearly as well, unless it's pouring rain. Leave it down. Now, the CEO, Adrian Hallmark, says, quote, "For 60 years, Aston Martin Volantes have defined the art of elegant, sporting, open-top motoring. With its stunning looks and outstanding V12 engine, producing more power than any other front-engine production car on sale, Vanquish Volante has taken the philosophy to an entirely new level." Which, again, to me, it looks kind of cool, but the front is so bad. Like, people make fun of BMW for the kidney grills, and they've gotten bigger throughout the years. This is more comical than the BMW front. Like, it's almost like a cartoon. I mean, this is the ugliest Aston Martin they've ever designed, in my opinion. Okay, I won't go that far. There's some dark times in the 80s and 90s where most cars look like crap, including Aston Martin. It's not that bad, okay. Past 20 years, though. Shoot, I'd rather get a 20-year-old Aston Martin with a stick shift and I would not want this. Granted, it's not a problem because I don't have the pennies. I don't even have money for the deposit for this monstrosity. They say that they didn't mention the price, but it will certainly cost more than the $434,000 coupe. Production begins third quarter 2025, and fewer than 1,000 will be built each year. They'll probably sell them, but Jesus Louise, at that price point, I mean, you know me. I don't buy things unless it has a stick shift. Well, also, I have Honda money, or I've used Honda money, not Aston Martin money. But if I won the lottery and I want to get a supercar, again, I kind of have the V12. I love the fact that Aston Martin still does that. I'd want an Aston Martin with a stick shift, which they don't make as many, but they say they will soon. But for $400,000, you have $400,000 to buy a sports car. I mean, you get the best of the best Porsche with a stick shift for that price. Well, with enough money for insurance and gasoline. And I would also argue the better styling. I mean, at that price point, again, there's obviously a market for it, but I am astonished how much it's going for. And let me know in the comment. I can just keep obsessing about that bombastically large grille. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but I think the proportions are all wrong. Again, when you're buying Aston Martin for decades, you're buying the styling, the craftsmanship. I mean, historically speaking, they're the most beautifully designed cars on the planet. But I mean, let me know. Do you think this looks exceptionally beautiful and a great car, or do you think they kind of jumped the shark? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Prod podcast, you have Disney's Snow White crashing and burning like a Boeing aeroplane, so bad that the old comments video is going viral. Now, this video actually came out a couple months ago where someone took the trailer from the YouTube of the Snow White movie, and most of the comments were vitriolly, ratioing it, and they made a music video based on those comments, which is hilarious and brilliant and going viral yet again. This got 6.1 million views on the YouTube and 225,000 upvotes. And it's a little less than 2 minutes long, but it's so funny. It's worth watching again. If I saw this
this movie on a plane, I would still walk out. This trailer makes me want to sit on the TV and look at my couch. I paid nothing to watch this trailer, but I already want my money back. Coming to a theater near you, me, is that a threat? They should have made Rachel CGI instead. Made Rachel CGI. Me, is that a
45,000 likes for that one.
threat? They should have made Rachel CGI instead. Mark Brown and the 7 Discord mods. The CGI looks much better when I turn my monitor off. Disney invites you and I must politely decline. I'm rooting for the poison apple. Why is Lord
50,000 likes for that Apple comment.
Farquaad playing Snow White? This movie should come with a disclaimer. No dwarfs were harmed, but your childhood might be. I haven't seen something self-implode this hard since that Titan submarine. Mirror, mirror on the wall. As a German, I claim cultural appropriation. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Snow White in the 7 CGI abomination. Making the dwarfs look like a PS1 hack reap was a bold choice. Rachel Zegler looks like a medieval squire boy. Marvel's lost $237 million. Snow White, hold my beer. Disney used to make people famous. Now it ends acting careers. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Why the seats are empty in cinema halls. Mirror, mirror on the wall. What's the biggest Disney flop of all?
4,000 likes. Wow. And hilariously enough, the ratio for that music video is probably better than the trailer for Snow White, which, well, granted, is a pretty low bar to begin with. But yeah, it turns out hiring an actress who hates your company and makes divisive comments about half the United States, not a prudent business idea. I think Disney, well, no, they're too stupid to learn, I don't think. But the numbers will surely disappoint them. Now, some top comments here comes from Lethargic Lizard. Interestingly enough, says, quote, "This trailer makes me want to sit on the TV and look at my couch. Absurdly funny, especially when you imagine the situation play out." Getting 15,000 likes. One Smiley Baldy says, "Mirror, mirror" went so hard that it actually made me feel like an actual song instead of a meme. Getting 6.8 thousand likes. On Ho says, quote, you know that the movie is screwed when the comments are more entertaining." Getting 14,000 likes. And oddly enough, reminds me of the comment section without Brett Cooper. You also have Denim Verse saying, quote, "If I saw this movie on a plane, I'd still walk out." I respect that. Getting 1.9 thousand likes. American Super Dad says, quote, "Queen, why haven't you brought me her heart?" And it says, "Huntsman, she doesn't have one, Your Majesty." Getting 12,000 likes. Let's see. Coming soon, hello police, electric report a threat. Getting 15,000 likes. Marvel lost, NBA says, Marvel's lost $237 million. Snow White, hold my beer. Getting 617 likes. Some Buzz says, Rachel, the prince. Oh, let's see here. The prince could get all his scenes cut. You never know. Hollywood, baby. Prince, oh, thank God. Can I go now? Getting 3.4 thousand likes. Yeah. Yeah. And Disney's going to lose a lot of money on this film. And it's funny because half the propaganda on the Facebook these days are articles saying how great Snow White is. Though it always tickles my cuckles when I click the like ratio and see that it's like 90% people laughing at the Disney propaganda. Because I was about to say no one's buying that shit. 25 people are probably buying movie tickets, which that might be more of a punishment. The parent wants to hurt their kid, but they know it's not socially acceptable to do that physically these days, nor they don't normally recommend it. But maybe they need to punish their child to go, all right, Bobby, we're going to watch Snow White with Rachel Zegler. Oh, no, no, Dad, no! It's cruel and unusual. Geneva Convention. It's not a real possibility to punish your kid. That's got to be a hard one. But, yeah, I can't but think this movie's going to crash and burn. Sorry, was it down to 1.5 out of 10 in terms of the ratings on IMDb? I mean, it's crashing pretty bad. But let me know your thoughts, because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Donald Trump signing an order to ban sanctuary cities. Now, this comes with thanks to Libs at TikTok, and it was after decades of Democrats shielding criminals from being deported. And she says, quote, Donald Trump just said he might be signing executive order to end sanctuary cities altogether, which, apologies, I just drank Way too much caffeine today. I'll attempt to repeat that more coherently. If you could also click the subscribe button. When I very first started the show, I spoke faster than Ben Shapiro and stumbled over my words worse than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs. But as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I've been speaking a little bit better. My theory being the more people that subscribe, the better I speak. And someday we'll make it through an entire episode speaking perfectly articulately. Someday I shall. I hope. So if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. So Libs TikTok says, quote, Trump just said he might be signing an executive order to end sanctuary cities altogether. Sanctuary cities protect illegal aliens and allow violent criminals and foreign terrorists to roam the streets. And it's about, what is this, a minute long, so without too much further ado.
We're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of their state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether because it's just a way of protecting criminals. And nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime, the crime rate has gone through the roof. Under Biden, it was through the roof. It's starting to come down, but we're taking a lot of people out of here. So we may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
There you go. And again, this actually didn't go as far as I thought it'd go. Got about 190,000 views and 11,000 likes. One first comments coming from AKA says end sanctuary cities already and 210 likes. Paul Zupa says defund all sanctuary states, gained 32 likes. Western Dominion says, quote, the streets shall no longer be tainted by foreign criminals and terrorists. Trump's order is not just a policy, it's a declaration of war against the forces that would see this nation undone, getting 22 likes. You also have Adrian Harris says, this is what we've been waiting for. Sanctuary cities are illegally harboring people who here illegally. He should simply stop giving them any federal funds. They would come to him begging to restore the funds. The only things Democrats care about is money. Getting 32 likes. I would say money and power. Dumb Detector says, quote, would love to see that. The dumb liberals would melt into a puddle over it, getting 3 likes. You also have Styx, spelled S-T-Y-X, saying, quote, sanctuary city is another term for aiding and abetting. Sanctuary cities encourage people to come to a country illegally and then harbor and protect them once they are here. How is that not illegal? Yeah, it should be illegal, one would think. Got 15 likes. I have a couple of memes of when Trump was in the WWE shouting. Trump Gunner says, this is the leadership America needs. Sanctuary cities have turned into lawless zones, shielding criminals instead of protecting citizens. President Trump's move will restore order, uphold the law, and put American safety first. No more special treatment for illegal aliens. Getting 16, let's make it 17 likes. Larry says, now that's what I voted for. Getting 24, make it 25 likes. Again, there is that. I mean, yeah, well, a lot of these shitties, all they care about is federal money and funding. I can't but think, but maybe they'll override their desire to destroy America and break the law. What do you think they care more about in these shitties? Will they no longer be sanctuary cities? Do they hate Trump more than they like money? That's the real question. Let me know what you think the outcome will be, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Representative Jasmine Crockett calling Governor Greg Abbott Hot Wheels because he's in a wheelchair as she goes to the Human Rights Campaign, which is a organization for LGBT. Now, this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness, and here she is attempting to speak. Though granted, I don't really have much ground to stand on. She speaks more articulately than myself, though that's not saying much. She's at a fancy podium. That's a clear podium. That's fancy.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets.
Ah, the class of Jasmine Crockett. I forgot. Let me reset that. Oh, God, what an embarrassment to Texas.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey.
Great grammar, too, by the way.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
Now later, she claims, after this happened, she goes, "Oh no, I was referring to the fact that he was using trains and other ways to get illegals out of state." Sure. Now this went pretty viral. Got 14.6 million views as well as 22,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from anti-woke memes. A little disappointed though, they did not in fact respond in meme form. He simply says, quote, "Who is dumber, Jasmine Crockett or AOC?" Getting 136 likes, which, oh man, that's gotta be difficult. Who's dumber or who has more anti-American sentiment or policies? Gosh, that'd be difficult. That's a coin toss. As much as mentally vacuous AOC is and illegal she is in terms of employing illegals in her campaign staff and encouraging people to break the law, and at least she did have that proposal of Matt Gaetz, was it last year, to ban insider trading for the spouses of government officials. So I do appreciate that. But you have the Waco kid having a picture of Jasmine Crockett by AI, and that got 144 likes. Jeez Louise. Nick Sorter says, quote, "It's official, Jasmine Crockett, oh shit, is the dumbest member of Congress, even beating out AOC. That's a hell of an accomplishment." It got 3.5 thousand likes, which that's an interesting accolade. Valentina Gomez, back in the comments, I haven't seen her in a while. She says, quote, "Extremely ghetto," getting 3.1 thousand likes. Base Electrician says, quote, "Governor Hot Wheels, nobody knows what the hell she's talking about," getting 35 likes, which, I mean, I don't know if is that an antiquated toy, if you're trying to make that reference. Got 35 likes. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, "Profoundly ghetto trash," getting 2.1 thousand likes. Paul Zuzuba says Jasmine Crockett is as low IQ as they come, getting 505 likes. Thick Eggshell says, quote, "While I look into my crystal ball, I can foresee Jasmine Crockett's future." It's Maxine Waters, getting 10 likes. Brian Jacobson says, quote, "Jasmine is the most ghetto congressman to ever sit. I'm disappointed with Texas." Getting 1.2 thousand likes, which, yeah. There's also a picture of Dan Crenshaw, who is very defensive when you ask him about banning insider trading of politicians or by politicians. And oddly enough, he wants to kill Tucker Carlson. Yeah, let's just say Dan Crenshaw rose to stardom really quick. And yeah, he's been a utter disappointment. Still waiting for him to push more pro-Second Amendment stuff. Yeah, I'm waiting. They got 1.2 thousand likes as well. Yeah, I also have the intellectual Buckeye saying, quote, "She is speaking somewhere with, quote, or human rights campaign behind her while calling a man constrained to a wheelchair for life Governor Hot Wheels. Everything is a dumb and charade." In 1.2 thousand likes, which, yeah. The tolerant left they're called, they say. Pro-American Politics says, quote, "The Democrats now make fun of people with disabilities, burn down car dealerships, and fight deportation of terrorists. What's going on?" True colors being shown, perhaps, in 1.1 thousand likes. Man Van Swole says, quote, "She does know that Texas governor is paralyzed, right? She's making fun of a paralyzed person. That's horrible." Getting 4.7 thousand likes. Yep. Akush Sharma says, quote, "Her owner is George Soros's creepy-looking son." Granted, I don't have much ground to stand on when it comes to calling people creepy. I know, but yeah, there she is. I got 137 likes. OG says, quote, "She's talking like that to appeal to the youngest black vote, LOL. She'll never talk like that when she's elected. Grift." Getting 1.7 thousand likes. Florida 1 says, quote, "Why is she talking like a hood rat? She wasn't raised that way. Total phony." And here's her on The View.
And so, it'll be interesting to see where the unions go with some of these lawsuits and how successful they are. But again, ultimately, I think that he's trying to get to his favorite court.
Yeah, which I think the biggest offender of this is probably Kamala Harris in terms of how they really pretended to mimic the audience where they were. And then Hillary Clinton. They're all installed puppets who just mimic the room with no backbone or integrity. I mean, although, for the record, I should say Hillary Clinton is a beautiful, intelligent woman. She has not had a statistically high number of people around her who committed suicide, 28 plus. And I don't own any rope and plan to live a long lifetime. Just coincidentally, I want to throw that out there. Now, you also have American 357, which I would argue the only thing more American than a 357 would be 45 ACP, but I respect the Magnum. And he has a picture of Crockett as a Muppet, getting 273 likes. Joseph Dalbarito, I think that's how I pronounce it, says ghetto trash. And it's a picture of someone holding up a tire tread, says Jasmine Crockett's eyelash, getting 237 likes, which I don't know why any women, I don't think that's a I'm pretty sure, I don't know why women pay for eyelash extensions and those things. Spoiler alert, no guy ever cares about that. Like, no straight man cares about that. I'll just put it that way. Got 237 likes. Let's see here. Barry Armstead says, quote, she needs to be censored, race baiting, inciting violence, lying. I mean, this ghetto trash is literally not good for anything, getting 248 likes. I mean, she's probably raising money for Democrats. She's going viral. She's getting more and more popular on social media. Again, we're critiquing her, but I'm sure that probably, maybe not the same exact number of people, but a fair amount of people love what she's saying and doing. We'll do one more. Madam B says, quote, at least she didn't leak top secret plans to a journalist, getting 2.3 thousand likes. Let's see here. So we'll see. I mean, she seems, more and more people are saying she's, there's a Photoshop picture of her. A lot of people saying maybe she'd be a contender for the future Democrat Party. I mean, what was it? Don Lemon was saying that. He was saying that her and OC are, they should be, boosted up by the legacy media and propped up because they could be the future Democrat Party, which maybe we should all hope for because, yeah, in terms of a mass appeal, I don't think most people would vote for him, but who knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comments because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the business blunder of the day, you have an espresso machine being recalled because it might burn you. Now, specifically, this is a brand called Senseo, which does sound fancy. I'll give them that much, though nothing fancy about being burned. Now, this comes with thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission website. And they say, quote, Senseo recalls steam espresso machines due to burn and laceration hazard. Whoops. You can see the espresso machine in, I was about to say all its glory, all of its malfunctions. Yeah, it looks like moderately fancy. It's got stainless steel. It has the word Cooks as the label on it. At least on one of the models. Now, these are also called the Bella Pro Series and Cook Steam Espresso Machines. Now, the issue is the brew cup handle can forcibly eject during use. What? Shattering the glass carafe. Or carafe? I'm a cheap Mr. Coffee guy. I don't know much vernacular about the coffee. I know the cheap good stuff. And posing a burn hazard and laceration hazard. Whoops. I mean, at least your day is moderately more exciting. The handle might shoot off. I mean, that's cruel and unusual because you don't yet have your coffee. You don't have the, the caffeine. You need to dodge it. So it's been an especially hard life challenge. Now, they continue saying, quote, the model 90295 and Cook's Steam Espresso Makers model 22393, the recalled espresso machines are black with stainless steel trim and measured about 6 inches wide and 12 inches tall. The machines have, quote, Bella Pro Series or Cooks on the steaming chamber and model number identified as the item number on the sticker under the machine. They note that consumers should immediately stop using the recalled espresso machines and contact Senseo for a full refund. Now, unfortunately, they did not get ahead of this recall, per se, because the firm has received 18 reports of handles ejecting, 8 of which reported burn and laceration injuries. Now, hilariously enough, in terms of who bought these, people bought these at JCPenney and Best Buy. So I'm not saying only about 18 reports of this happening. I'm not saying only 30 people bought them total, but the odds are you're fine because no one shops at JCPenney and 5 people shop at Best Buy. Now, apparently, they also sold at BestBuy.com and JCPenney.com between August 2023 and January 2025 for between $40 and $60. They're manufactured in China, and the recall number is 25-191. Again, the recall number is 25-191. And especially bad for companies that are hurting JCPenney and Best Buy. Allegedly, you have some quality control. Probably not, but yeah, of the few things that are flying off your shelves or being sold these days, to have something that, can burn people. And again, I'm not sure what Bella is thinking of the manufacturer's product. Your product is designed to, quite literally get hot. You won't think you probably take safety a little bit seriously or you can put it top priority. But unfortunately, not so much. You already have people getting burned physically because you're going to have to, deal with this, but also physically. So, gotta say, Senseo, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.